are. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you? Sorry, I was a little bit late.
No, you are all good. I mean, news never stops. So if it's a little late, I promise we have other things to cover until, I promise. How are you doing today?
Great, great.
Busy for you, huh?
Absolutely.
Now, just getting right into it, stocks have been falling as investors look to park their money. The heaviest losses are coming from banks. What do you make of today's developments?
Well, obviously, people are reacting to what happened last week at the end of the week with the Silicon Valley Bank and to a lesser extent Signature Bank up in New York. I think regional bank stocks are falling some because these are basically large regional banks. And as a result of that, you see that. Some of the market has reacted positively to it. Some other parts of the market basically because they think it probably means the Federal Reserve may not be quite so aggressive in raising interest rates now. And of course, they did backstop the deposits, which was very important, so that these major tech companies that we all know and recognize, and online companies like Etsy and many others, are going to be able to continue to operate normally. And so that was a very important thing that happened over the weekend. So on the whole, I think this will be a tempest in a teapot, but it is something that has to be addressed.
And how is this going to trickle down to East Texas if it does?
Well, honestly, if things go the way they should, it probably won't trickle down too much because again, the companies are now able to fulfill orders, meet payroll, do all the things they needed to do. All of their money is secure. They're not bailing out the shareholders, which is appropriate in this case. I mean, when the bank makes a mistake like this, the shareholders are the ones that should absorb the cost of that. So basically, I don't think it's going to have a big effect beyond this. I think it'll take a few days for people to get calm about things again and have some confidence in the banking system. But this is not a situation of any big wholesale problem in the banking system. You had one bank bet the wrong way on interest rates, and then once the word got out that they had a liquidity problem, unfortunately with the internet these days, a lot of depositors came in very quickly and withdrew a lot of cash, more than they could handle. And so it was kind of a special set of circumstances that led to this. Hopefully not something that'll be repeated.
And President Biden spoke earlier today, reassuring the public that deposits at these banks are safe. Your reaction to what the president had to say?
Well, he's absolutely right. And I think that was very important. Basically, as most of you probably know, bank deposits are insured up to $250,000 by the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, the FDIC. What happened over the weekend was something that we have an emergency regulations to take care of. The Federal Reserve, the Treasury, and the FDIC got together and said, we will make all deposits in these banks 100% good on Monday morning. And that was important because, again, you have some well-known tech companies that really rely on this bank a lot for their ongoing operations, and this assured all of that would continue in the appropriate way. And so I think that was the appropriate measure to do, and I think the president emphasizing that is probably a good thing for people to help them realize that this is a relatively isolated situation.
And these two recent bank failures, Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, after the government measures that were put into place after the banking crisis in 2008, why did these two banks fail?
Well, basically, they bet wrong, is I guess the best way to say it. Again, they're not the very, very large banks that are subject to a whole lot of stress testing and that sort of thing. But the tech bank, Silicon Valley Bank, made a bet on some interest rates going a different direction, and they're also a tech-oriented bank, which of course the tech stocks have taken a hit lately. We've seen a lot of layoffs in tech, and then in Signature Bank, they made a bet on cryptocurrency. It didn't work out too well for them. So these are pretty much isolated incidences.
And now, switching gears a little bit, there's been some controversy over whether or not we are, in fact, in a recession. Can you define a recession for me?
Well, unfortunately, the definition of a recession, the real definition is whenever the National Bureau of Economic Research says we're in a recession. a fairly common man on the street definition of it is 2 consecutive quarters of GDP declining. That's not always the case. For example, we had a little bit of that in the recovery from the pandemic, yet we were gaining hundreds of thousands of jobs every month, kind of a special circumstance thing. At this moment, we're not in a recession. I mean, the U.S. economy gained over 300,000 jobs last month. That does not a recession make. A number of people are predicting one for later in the year. At this point in time, I'm not among them. I think there's probably a 30 to 35% chance of recession, a 65% or so, 65% chance we don't have a recession. And so I don't think we're headed for one right now, but I do think you'll see the economy slow down some during the year.
Alrighty, and those are all of my full questions that I have for you. Is there anything else you would like to add yourself?
Oh, the only thing I would add is, for people out there, this is not 2008. We don't have a massive problem in the banking system or something like that. We've had a couple of incidents here that are unfortunate. The appropriate actions were taken on a timely basis, and all of this should work itself out fairly soon.
Alrighty, you're a man of hope today. I gotta say, Dr. Perryman, you feel like a man of hope in this moment. All right. Well, once again, everyone, this is Dr. Ray Perryman of the Perryman Group. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope to